I used to do that.
Yeah, we do a lot of
We do.
local talk, local programming,
Yeah.
politics, that type of stuff.
Sure.
And then we're real big on high school sports.
Oh, cool.
We do high school football every Friday night.
Okay.
Stream it actually from the site on our YouTube and Facebook pages as well, just like this will be now.
Got it.
Like actually tonight we're going to be streaming the New Brighton Halloween Parade.
Oh,
Our
very
Facebook
nice.
and YouTube page.
I'm about to unplug something.
Eddie and I are the hosts of it. You can't unplug that.
I'm going to plug that back in.
Unplug that top one.
I won't.
So we'll do like basically.
It was a
the radio's
50-50
not radio
shot.
anymore, it's more like TV and radio almost,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Interesting.
You'll sign in about a minute ahead of time on the Facebook feed so I can share it.
Nope.
How'd you two guys get hooked up?
We dated briefly in high
That's
school
nice. Yeah.
and
then you found
grew
each other on
apart,
an app.
grew apart,
Yeah.
and then the internet.
Found each other on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. A total meet cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is,
it's like, you
I'm
grew
about
into
8
what I
years in.
wanted.
I did the show with Dell
You've
for
changed.
about 3
When
years.
COVID hit,
Yeah.
I got
About 3 years.
laid off. I was
17 to
doing talk at
19,
KDKA.
20.
I started.
And
Who
I
was
had
the guy right before
previously
Mike
done
Romai?
talk here, filling in and helping
The
out.
older guy.
Oh, John Nuzzo.
Yeah,
I was
John
home
Nuzzo. I started with him, then he
for about
retired.
3
Then Mike
weeks
Romai. Then
when
he came
COVID
on,
hit
yeah.
at the end of March 2020. And Frank called and said, hey, you want to come do my show?
Nice.
I called my then boss at KD and told him, and he's like, dude, go for it. I have no idea when you're coming back.
Oof.
So, okay.
Got it.
But before,
KDK is the first radio show ever, right? Isn't KDK the
It's-
first radio station?
it's
We're
the,
gonna fight about it.
it depends on who you ask. Yeah.
Ah, I
In
thought
broadcast history books, most of them say yes.
That's
but
pretty cool.
KQB.
KQB also squawks
What's
about it.
KQV?
They were actually first.
A different station in Pittsburgh.
Oh, in Pittsburgh, though.
Yeah.
KDK was the first licensed station.
Yeah.
Interesting.
KQB actually started broadcasting before KDK.
Got it.
KQV kind of shut down a couple years ago, but then they reopened as a somebody bought it, and they're just basically it's just the call letters of what it was.
Got it. Yeah, because the Episcopal Church in Shadyside has a placard on it which states that it's it was the first. It's like the first church service, or was the site of the first broadcast, or something like that.
Yeah. The first thing that got broadcast on KDKA was, I want to say, a
this the right-
prize fight.
Am I in the right place?
Really?
Yeah.
Or it was
Or
a
a church.
15-minute, or a sermon.
Yeah, or as a sermon,
Or a
yeah.
15-minute, one of them did a 15-minute
Monitor, we kind of, this
furniture
camera here, we were
commercial.
testing
Wow.
because I remember it,
Yeah.
and it
one
was
of the
up
few
on a mast,
Yeah.
broadcast classes
Oh,
I
jeez.
took.
so I don't have a screen to
Some
see.
expensive,
man.
expensive furniture.
It's kind of fun.
So I do the same show every month. I've been doing it for about 8 years.
This show.
We just talk about different things every time I come in, pick a different body part.
Oh, that's warm right there, bro.
I had Dr. Interval here
Yeah.
a couple months ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, thought bring some different doctors in and introduce them to the Beaver County. This is how far does this reach, actually?
Well, we have actually 4 stations altogether.
2
We
AMs, 2
go as far
FMs.
north with the BVP, which is the
Gonna
99
kill
degree.
this computer.
We go as far as you can get us out in Gibsonia. You can go down and get us out on McKnight Road. You can get us the whole way
Those are
down
my stomping
to,
ground.
I can't think what it's called, where Wilson Winford and all that is, off of 376 going off of 79 going south.
Hollidaysburg?
What's that called, Eddie?
I don't know. I never leave my house.
Like Washington? That's not. No, that'd be
Not
79.
that far. Not quite that far.
Bridgeville?
Before that. But, yeah, Bridgeville. You can get a little bit right near Bridgeville, and then the 95.7 goes that way towards the city of Pittsburgh, and it actually goes out like towards South Hills and stuff like that. So there's a pretty good coverage.
Cool.
I'm trying to make this computer work, and it's
You need
not
help?
wanting to. No,
And
it's
we
not.
stream online too, so that's.
You want to restore what you had previously?
Yeah.
That's too late now.
We have streaming on our website and our own apps too, so obviously, really we get anywhere.
Yeah, I saw. Well, you would send. Dale would send me the link to what's it called? Eric's discussion on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw a few minutes
Not
of it. and-
responding.
Okay, so my news just started, Joe. I'll start it here in a second. So
Okay.
this. Okay, that looks pretty good. trying to get everything.
I can do
straight.
tech support on the side if you need.
It's not.
What are you trying to pull out?
I'm trying to pull up anything so I can get on the station Facebook. And this is a computer that gets used by about 15 different people. And
Up again?
it just won't open anything up, you know, because I'm sure somebody decided to rewire it for
I
fun.
just used it yesterday.
Well, then I blame you.
Well, it should load. Is it staying a black screen or is Windows coming?
We're getting it. We're getting it.
I know it had to repair itself the other day. There was an issue with some type. Okay.
I think your connection.
Yeah, I'll start the stream now. So I can get to the- Go.
It is Teleforum. I am Eddie Crow, and I've got not one but two guests today. Normally, Dale Reckless would be my guest, MRS Physical Therapy. He is, but he brought a friend. Would you like to introduce your friend?
I would
Because,
love to
and I'm
introduce
I'm
you.
going to call your friend out before we even get into the
No,
program.
I already
Okay.
feel like brothers already.
All right.
Yeah, so today we have a special guest. Dr. Staltari has come in to talk with us today. And the reason why I brought Dr. Staltari in is just like I brought in Dr. Interval a number of months ago. There's been a lot of doctors that have changed in the Beaver County area. And I get patients that ask me all the time, they ask me for a referral to doctors and who should I go to. And I realized there is a mass exodus of ear, nose, and throat doctors in the Beaver County area in the last couple of years. Actually, more than half the doctors that used to be in Beaver County for ENT have left. They either retired or left the area. And so when I have patients coming up to me asking me, well, where should I go now? I thought it'd be a nice idea to bring in some doctors and introduce them to the people of Beaver County, Allegheny, and Butler County as well, so they could start to learn some of the new doctors in the area and make good decisions on who they choose for their ear, nose, and throat doctors. So I asked Dr. Staltari to come in today. So I asked him just to speak to us, tell us what he does. What he does in his practice and what he likes to focus on, and how the listeners and viewers today can get a benefit from the ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Well, first thing, welcome,
Thank
Giuseppe
you.
Staltari. The first thing he did was he went into IT mode and was trying to fix my computer.
I do. Yeah, if
And
your
it-
patients need IT help on the side.
Is it going to bug you?
What's
Is
that?
it because
It looks like it's less frozen now, so I think it'll be I think it'll be less distracting. But
I mean,
The best thing that he said is, I don't like to see broken things.
that's it. That's
true.
the first thing you want to hear from a doctor,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Right.
All right.
part-time orthopedic surgery, part-time IT work,
Yeah.
full-time ear, nose,
What do
and
you
throat.
need? It's
Yeah.
leaf season. Call me.
Exactly,
I have
do
a
it.
truck.
Yeah, exactly.
What
exactly.
do you do besides fix other people's computers?
Besides computers and everything information technology, so I do close to what Dr. Interval had previously talked to you guys about. So I'm an ear, nose, and throat generalist. So our whole practice, including myself, will see kids and adults. What I enjoy doing is sorry, it's hard to hear at your
That's what
microphone.
happens. See, that's what happens when somebody that doesn't know
That's okay,
tries
that's
to
okay.
fix things.
That's okay. I'll just plow through it in my
Plow
head.
through. There's a bleeder. Get to it.
So I do voice surgery, sinus surgery, and head and neck surgery as well. And so those are sort of, I guess that's my wheelhouse, if you will.
Okay.
But we'll see patients that have vertigo. We'll see patients that have a huge part of our practice is allergy care, developing sort of convenient personalized allergy shots and allergy therapy that you can take at home. And then hearing aids is another huge part of our practice, which we enjoy doing.
Over the last couple of years, did you see more people with allergies, or did you see less? I'm curious because we weren't out as
Yeah.
a society.
It's true. I mean, the thing that I've seen an uptick in, and I don't know that there's great data to demonstrate this is anything more than a anecdotal sort of understanding of things, is more traditional upper respiratory infections that would be primarily pediatric in their sort of incidence. So things that kids usually have, like pus in their ears, the
Okay.
sniffles that are really bad sinus infections from bacteria. That seems to have had an interesting uptick in the emergence after COVID precautions. I can't really speak to that as a scientist. That's like armchair physiology.
Okay.
But yeah, that's been more of an interesting thing. And then perennially, it seems like a discussion of more allergies is the topic. It's very likely the case. I don't know if it's any number of environmental changes, but certainly we see new allergy patients every day, and it seems like the severity of allergies is picking up.
Walk me through the path from when you started medical school and decided to become a doctor to ending up sitting here next to Dale.
Yeah, so I went to medical school in Jefferson and Philadelphia, which was certainly a great city and a lot of fun to be at. Came back home for training at the University of Pittsburgh for ear, nose, and throat and head and neck surgery. So that's 5 years, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of that training. And had an opportunity to be back with my family and train with my own community. And then found a great practice that covers Sewickley, Beaver, Cranberry, and the Kennedy, Montour, Moon, McKees Rocks area. And then one fateful day, Dale Reckless showed up in the office. I think we kind of exchanged some words about how perfect of a name that is for a physical therapist, and seems like a business generator for sure. And and I don't know. And then we've sort of maintained touch since then. I think that's the short line through that otherwise somewhat winding road.
Dale, what made Dr. Staltari stand out in your mind? You see a lot of doctors, you interact with a lot of doctors for a lot of years here in Beaver County.
Well, ENTs are a type of physician that we work a lot with in physical therapy, especially at our practice at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy, because of our vestibular rehab program. Not a lot of physical therapists do vestibular rehab, not a lot deal with vertigo as we do. So ENTs are a specialty niche that we work a lot with, that not all physical therapists do. The ENT and allergy specialists of Western Pennsylvania is a fantastic group that we worked a long time with. Dr. Orsini, Dr. Froman, Dr. Rego. Dr. Rego since retired, but those doctors are doctors that we've had a long time relationship with. So when Dr. Interval and Dr. Staltari came on board, I knew it was an immediate importance to reach out to them as new ENTs in that practice to develop a relationship with. And as the watchers know, Dr. Interval came out and spoke to us a couple months ago, and I asked Dr. Staltari to come out and speak to us also. I think they do some similar things, but they probably have a little bit of differences too in their practice and what they do, especially with the surgical procedures, which I'm interested in hearing Dr. Staltari tell us a little bit more about today. But like I said, it's a great opportunity to meet some new physicians that are in the area, because patients come up to us and ask us all the time for referrals, because we have long-standing relationships with our patients. We work with them a lot for different diagnoses, but someone that's coming in for a knee replacement or a back injury might have vestibular or vertigo issues, and they'll be asking us about those issues and who we should send them, who they should go to see. So we really like to send them to patients, or send them to physicians that we have a relationship with. An ENT and allergy specialist of Western Pennsylvania is a great practice, and we're really happy to have Dr. Integral and Dr. Staltari as part of that practice in the Beaver County area. Like I said, there were four different ENTs that retired in the last couple of years just in Beaver County alone, and one additional one left the area. So more than half of the ENT opportunities in the area all of a sudden were gone. So we're really happy to have Dr. Staltari in the Beaver County area for our patients.
Well, I have to say, for a lot of the patients that we share, it was super nice to find Dale and Dale's group, because essentially for any problem, there's three pathways. You can have a medical pathway, you can have a surgical pathway, and then there's sort of like the third category of treatment for a whole host of things, and that's therapy. And that's sort of like teaching the body to sort of heal itself or improve itself without surgical techniques or without a pharmacologic measure. So for things like facial nerve, for things like vertigo or other balance disorders, where I can't sort of heal you with some sort of I can't cut into your body to make you less dizzy for the vast majority of dizzy causes. Without Dale's group or people like Dale, it's extremely difficult to give these patients some sort of satisfaction for what they come to see you for. So it's a nice symbiotic sort of relationship to both understand the patient's condition, give it a name and a treatment pathway, and then have someone that can actually affect that change for the patient. With MRS.
Dale Reckless and Dr. Giuseppe Staltari are my guests. It is Teleforum. If you've got questions about physical therapy or vestibular systems or other stuff that I don't know what the words mean, 724-843-1888. This is being live Facebook streamed. You can post your questions in the comments section as well. Dale, what are the key words that you hear, or what are the key symptoms that you see that you tell the patient, okay, Dr. Staltari is who's going to be able to further help you?
Yeah, someone that comes in, and this happens quite frequently. So when I have a patient I'm doing an evaluation for, I lie them down on the mat table. I have them roll on their sides, because I'm evaluating maybe their hip strength or their knee strength or their range of motion. And I'll have quite often patients say, they might say, I can't do that. And I say, why not? And they say, because I'm going to get dizzy, and that's a key term. Or they actually do get dizzy in my practice when that happens.
When they tell you, no, I can't do that, I'm going to get dizzy, do you make them do it to demonstrate it as part of the sorting it out
within their level of comfort?
Okay.
Some patients have a real fear of doing it because they've been experiencing dizziness for a long period of time. It's almost a chronic issue that they're so fearful of it that they refuse to do it.
It's like, no,
so I won't
no.
make them do
Okay.
something they're uncomfortable with, but I do start steering them towards what we can do treatment-wise. whether or not they, the value of seeing an ENT that might help them out to check their inner ear. I don't look inside people's ears. I do procedures that can make them dizzy. I can tell what's going on with their dizziness, but I'm not a professional that can look in someone's ears and tell if there's some kind of a virus or infection.
You don't whip
or
out that little
inflammation.
plastic cone and
I
put
don't-
it
no,
and shove
I
it
don't have
down
one of
in
those
there.
in my practice.
Good.
Yeah,
So those are the
pediatric
patients-
torture
You do,
device.
yeah.
Yeah,
Those
I
are the
got plenty of
patients
those.
I say, why don't you go see your ENT doctor, and get further diagnostic workup, because I'm not really sure what's going on. And so that's the time when I make a recommendation to see a doctor like Dr. Staltari, to say, I'm not sure what's going on. We want to make sure there's nothing going on with the inner ear. Another common symptom that I see with my patients, or they'll describe to me when I'm assessing their gait, they'll say, well, I'm always walking to one side, or I feel off balance when I'm walking. Something doesn't feel quite right. So it might be something completely unrelated that I'm looking for, but these things get teased out through my evaluation process, and that's when I make the recommendation to see a professional like Dr. Staltari.
Yeah.
Conversely, somebody comes to see you and you say, I'm not the person to take care of this, but physical therapy over at MRS is.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of a hand in glove thing. People will come in and say, as a primary concern, usually, hey, listen, I can't do X, Y, and Z. Every time I'm in bed and I move, I get very dizzy, or I'll get some people use the word vertigo, which would be the proper term for the world spinning, the hallucination of the spinning of your environment because of movement of your eyes. And so that's generally the primary concern. Teasing out the difference between vertigo and dizziness and all this sort of stuff is generally my purview. But once it becomes clear that it's what we would call a peripheral vestibular problem, or basically a problem with the sensors for balance that are located within the inner ear structures, then to actually affect that change, then the patient's basically passed off to someone like Dale, who can actually work over one or many sessions to basically retrain the body or reposition certain parts of the inner ear structures in such a mode that the frequency or the severity of that vertigo goes to 0 or something close to 0.
What made you choose ear, nose, and throat?
There's a smart answer, and then there's the true answer.
Okay, now go with the dumbed down answer so I understand it.
The dumbed down answer is when I was a kid, my mom said I'd be good at it because I reminded her of
You
an
always
ENT
want
she
to
knew.
pay your mom. Yeah,
So that's the truth.
heartwarming
Yeah,
answer.
that's the truth. No, I think it's a fantastic, especially within medicine and surgery, because we are one of the few physicians that are sort of monopolistically anatomically located. So any problem that's above the shoulders, all the way to the top of the head, excluding the eyes and the brain,
Okay.
that's me. So I'm the medicine doctor, I'm the surgeon for that sort of thing. And whereas you take any other organ system, so the kidneys have a nephrologist and a urologist. You have a medicine physician and a surgeon. You have, of the brain, you have a neurologist and you have a neurosurgeon. You have a medicine physician and a surgeon. Within ear, nose, and throat, and I think the other similar thing would be obstetrics and gynecology. Those are the two specialties that come to mind that are essentially both the medical physician and the surgeon in one. And so the fact that we get to take patients in their I think it's probably one of the most sensitive parts of the body. It's how you talk, it's how you communicate, it's your facial expressions, it's your ability to interact with your world. It's how you look, it's how you talk and chew, etc. And the fact that I can take patients that come in with a problem, give them a diagnosis that either requires some sort of therapeutic medicine that I can provide, or a therapeutic surgery that I would affect myself. The fact that that's all contained in one specialty was what was attractive to me.
Do you have a preference? Would you rather, if you could only if we separate what you just talked about, and it's like, okay, you can be a surgeon, or you can do a different part of it.
Yeah, I think I'm much more a surgeon at heart. I think I'm probably like an 80-20, maybe 70-30, something like that.
Is there enough of a variance where you doing enough different sides of it, you maybe don't get as, bored's not the right word, but not as repetitive day in, day out with the variation?
Yeah. No, I mean, I like every time that there's that repetition, it's nice because I get to further hone my craft. Not that it's practice on any special person, but
Right.
Medical practice is practice. there's a person behind every surgery, so it's nice to I make a point to know every one of my patients and understand what they do or who they are and why they want to do a specific whatever we're doing. So I like the fact that I operate on people and not just bodies. So I enjoy that part of my practice.
Dale, you said we need ear, nose, and throat people in Beaver County. Mm-hmm. Why? You said one person left, but other people are doctors retiring? Are they going somewhere else? Is there a reason? Because I would think with the aging population, we're getting more into an area where that would be necessary between balance issues and surgery. Why are they leaving?
I wouldn't say really they've left as much as there's been more that have retired.
Okay.
So just the aging population of the doctors in the Beaver County area, there were 4 different doctors that retired in the last couple of years. So if you have an ENT or you had an ENT, you might want to check and make sure that they're still
Do you
practicing.
still have one?
Because there's a really good chance, because more than 50% have retired in the last couple of years, that they have retired. And so you need to seek out someone like Dr. Staltari for your ENT needs.
It is 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, streaming live at beavercountyradio.com. The program is Teleforum. Dale Reckless is my guest. His guest, you're my guest too. Okay.
We're all
We're all guests.
Yeah.
Dr. Giuseppe Staltari. After the news, more with the ENT that you don't know you need until you place the phone call, then you'll need. News is next on Teleforum.
John Fetterman poses as working class, but the New York Times reported that Fetterman lived off his parents until he was 49. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported Fetterman grew up, quote, sheltered from any hardship. His blue-collar routine is fake. He's a phony. Fetterman's act insults real families with real struggles. Far-left Fetterman would make life even harder for them. With inflation running wild, Fetterman's pushing tax hikes on those of us who actually work. He backed higher federal taxes and higher state taxes, even pushing to raise Pennsylvania's income tax rate 46%. And Fetterman said releasing murderers early was the most critical thing he'll ever do in office. That's nuts. Reject John Fetterman. He's a far-left fraud. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
How many reasons do you need to shop at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall? Well, let us tell you. Let's check in with General Manager Elio Filippi.
Welcome to Beaver Valley Auto Mall. It's the best place to get a great deal on a really nice car. Our selection is amazing, especially right now. Search hundreds of vehicles at beavervalleycars.com. Our expert staff and convenient location make the buying process easy to navigate. Every car is thoroughly inspected, and we'll keep it healthy with our first-class maintenance center. Buy here and service here. Become a Baba Beaver believer at Beaver Valley Auto Mall.
Thanks, Elio. There you have it. Convenience and selection that can't be beat, and staff and a service center committed to making sure that you get the most out of your vehicle. Call the Beaver Valley Auto Mall yourself at 724-371-0566 or click beavervalleycars.com.
.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com, invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 for a mix of the best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire and Beaver, the William Murphy Funeral Home, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, Circle of Friends, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and Rome Monument and Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith, uplifting, relaxing, and inspiring radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the Best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com. It's the diamond anniversary year of Beaver County Radio, and it's bigger and better than ever. We're now part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network and simulcasting on 4 radio stations and online at beavercountyradio.com. Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM. Along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning on this Wednesday morning, October the 19th of 2022. Your Beaver County Radio weather forecast for today is calling for snow showers early this morning, changing over the rain showers by lunchtime. High is going to be up to 45 degrees. There is a freeze watch in effect from this evening through tomorrow. We will have a complete forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Transportation Security Administration officers at Pittsburgh International Airport detected a third gun within a 4-day span from Friday, October the 14th through Monday, October the 17th. A loaded .40 caliber handgun was spotted in a Canonsburg man's backpack at a security checkpoint on Monday. The good catch came on the heels of the TSA detecting a loaded handgun in the carry-on bag of a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania man on Friday, October the 14th, and another loaded gun on Saturday, October the 15th, in a carry-on bag of a Colorado man. In each instance, TSA officers notified the Allegheny County Police, who confiscated the weapons. The incidents were not related. This is the 21st gun confiscated at Pittsburgh International Airport this year, compared to a total of 32 last year, and a total of 21 back in 2020. The Beaver County Energy and AMP Advanced Manufacturing Partnership is hosting its Pathways Career Awareness at the Community College of Beaver County tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for all Beaver County public and private school districts. Students, parents, teachers, and guidance counselors can all experience firsthand career opportunities in the region's manufacturing and construction industries and the training it takes to get these jobs through panel discussions, interactive displays, and educational exhibitors. John Gobrish, Dean of the School of Industrial Technology and Continuing Education, said in the release that attending this event is the best way for students, teachers, and administrators to meet area employers and learn about today and tomorrow's STEM-focused jobs. In 2014, the Beaver County EAMP formed between business, industry, and education to influence the pursuit of high-priority occupations in the energy and advanced manufacturing sectors. The goal of the partnership is to ensure students gain a clear understanding of these career pathways, along with skill sets and credentials needed for success. Pennsylvania State Police in Gibsonia reporting that they were called to the scene of a one-vehicle accident in the parking lot of the Pennsylvania State Police Barracks along the Pennsylvania Turnpike in Gibsonia. Troopers say via release that they were dispatched at 12:37 a.m. on Sunday after 25-year-old Kosai Maleo from Silver Spring, Maryland, attempted to make a sudden turn into the Pennsylvania State Police Gibsonia Barracks in the 2007 Toyota Yaris that he was driving. He was traveling at a speed too fast to execute the turn when he lost control of the vehicle, struck a guardrail, causing it to go airborne. The vehicle then struck a light pole and rotated clockwise and struck a parked Pennsylvania State Police patrol car. The car came to rest on top of the guardrail in contact with the pole and the police cruiser. Maleo was not injured in the accident, but he was cited for not driving a vehicle at a safe speed. President Joe Biden will announce the release of 15 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Reserve today as part of a response to recent production cuts announced by OPEC Plus nations. That's according to senior administration officials who spoke yesterday to outline the president's plans. He will also say more oil sales are possible this winter as his administration rushes to be seen as pulling out all the stops ahead of next month's midterm elections. The Strategic Reserve now contains roughly 400 million barrels of oil. It's at its lowest level since 1984. A new poll shows that many adults remain pessimistic about the state of the U.S. democracy and the way elected officials are chosen. Results of the Associated Press Doric Center for Public Affairs Research Survey come nearly 2 years after a divisive presidential election spurred claims of widespread fraud and violent attacks on the U.S. Capitol. The poll found that just 9% of the U.S. adults think democracy is working extremely or very well. In reversal from 2 years ago, Republicans are now more likely than Democrats to say that it doesn't work.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Snow showers this morning, changing over to rain showers by lunchtime. Your high is going to be 45 degrees today. There is a freeze watch in effect from this evening through tomorrow morning. There's a chance of evening showers as well this evening. Widespread frost mainly after 4 a.m. Otherwise overnight, low is going to be at the freezing mark of 32 degrees. Tomorrow, widespread frost in the morning. Otherwise, it's going to be partly sunny. That'll start a warm up. High is going to be 50 degrees. Then Indian summer will be arriving in Beaver County this weekend. Friday, mostly sunny, high of 62. Saturday, sunny and a high of 70. And Sunday, mostly sunny, high 72 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
It's the diamond anniversary year of Beaver County Radio, and it's bigger and better than ever. We're now part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network and simulcasting on 4 radio stations and online at beavercountyradio.com.
Teleforum continues. Dale Reckless is a monthly visit, isn't it?
Monthly, yeah.
We should see each other more. MRS Physical Therapy's Dale Reckless. He is with me. This is being live streamed. In between us is Dr. Staltari, ear, nose, and throat. Before we go any further, I've got more questions, and Dale brought up a wonderful point. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so we're a practice of 5 physicians. We have a website, so it's entallergy.org, and there's contact us information on there. But otherwise, we have an office in Beaver, we have an office in Cranberry, we have an office in Sewickley, and we have an office in the McKees Rocks, Kennedy, Montour, Moon area. Each office has a different number, so I think the easiest way to do it would be go to our website, entallergy.org, and all of the contact information's on there. There's also a contact us form to make it easy if you're phone phobic.
I'm getting there. Dale, you brought up something during the news, and I didn't think about it, and it's a wonderful thing to ask our guest. 5 years ago, a law got changed. It went into effect Monday. I can go and I can buy hearing aids apparently now off the shelf. I don't need any physician. I don't need an ear, nose, and throat person. I want to ask you, this is your field, Dr. Staltari. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Or people see that and go, oh, it's going to be cheaper. That's better.
Yeah.
Is it always better?
I don't know that it's always better. It is an interesting topic, one that we'll sort of see how it shakes out. In some ways, it's a win for patients because the access to things that will help patients hear their environment is now more readily available. There weren't too many governors on the ability to get hearing aids before this law that allows what we call OTC or over-the-counter hearing aids.
What would I have needed before, in the before time? Because I'm deaf as a post. What would I need?
You would have gone either to our website and found us, or you would have found any number of other hearing instrument specialists or audiologists to see you. You'd get a hearing test that is sort of a fine-tuned, that's the gold standard of understanding how well or how poorly you can hear over the entire spectrum of audible sound for a human being. And based on that, hopefully, there would be a good faith effort to recommend to you or recommend against the idea of getting a hearing aid. And hearing aids prior to this ruling, or essentially this regulation change, would come in, you could think of it from like the used Geo Tracker to the Rolls Royce or something like that. So there's plenty of different options for hearing aids from any different manufacturer, all with slight differences in their features and their durability and their fit, et cetera, et cetera. And so hopefully someone would have taken an intelligent look at your hearing test and then said, you know what, Eddie, you got to have this style hearing aid or something like that to get you to be happy hearing your environment. And then also another important part of that would have been someone that could look in your ear or understand what the history of your hearing loss is in order to make sure that there wasn't a severe or serious underlying medical condition that was causing it. Because plenty of people come to me and my partners and say, hey, listen, I can't hear. And it can be something as simple as a cotton. I had some guy that put a napkin in his ear once, and
Wait,
that was the problem.
And he didn't know?
No, he forgot that he put napkins in his ears at a party. So, which is that was one of the most fun moments of my life, to be able to give someone back their hearing by removing a napkin. So there's people like that.
Did you yell ta-da?
Yeah, it was a big magic trick. It was like pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
All right, be honest, that's one of the patients that you didn't laugh when he was there. As soon as he left, you told everyone.
So this particular patient and I have a pretty good relationship. So that was actually
Well,
it was
sure,
it was a
you
fun
healed
moment.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, there are people like that think that they can't hear, and they can't, but it's for an easily reconcilable reason. And then there are people that have, unfortunately, things like benign tumors on the nerve for hearing, or people that have reversible conditions that are time sensitive for their hearing.
I mean, if we're going to turn it around, we need to do it now.
Exactly.
Okay.
So because of that diversity, where not all hearing loss is hearing loss, it's not all one homogeneous group of a problem. That's, I think, where a lot of us are a little bit concerned that this loosening of regulation may create a pocket of patients that are going to assume something about their health, treat it, maybe to some success, but potentially at the risk of avoiding some sort of future benefit by either improving their hearing loss that was otherwise underneath the surface and fixable, or by shutting the door on a way of improving their hearing without a hearing aid. But on the other hand, I think for very likely the majority of patients that understand that maybe this has just been a progressive phenomenon, they could get something that would allow them to hear their environment better and be more connected with their family or their friends. They're designed to not, these over-the-counter hearing aids are not designed to be as powerful or as specifically tunable as I guess we would then describe as prescription hearing aids or the traditional hearing aids.
Okay. Our prescription, until Monday was a prescription hearing aid, are those going to be available over the counter?
They will not. Part of it is because of it's more of a logistics problem. So essentially, what we'll call a prescription hearing aid or a traditional hearing that everybody's familiar with is something that requires programming to make it personalized to the patient. So a patient comes in, they have hearing loss. Your hearing loss might be different from mine, and so your hearing aid, beyond its style and features and the accuracy of the sound produced, beyond those changes, your hearing aid would be different than my hearing aid when it's programmed for you and programmed for me. And that requires some time and some effort and some intelligence to actually basically set up the hearing aid for you. An over-the-counter hearing aid is made so that you basically can kind of do that all yourself. So their capacity for personalization is it's more consumer-focused or more patient-focused than requiring that the hearing aid is paired up hand in hand with someone that's a hearing instrument specialist or an audiologist connected with an ENT.
How much can you trust the guy to program his hearing aid if you can't trust him to keep a paper napkin out of his head?
That's right. That's a very good point. That's a good point. Yeah. So it's we'll see how it goes, and of course, our group and I think most of the groups in the states and in Pennsylvania will be prepared to help out patients that have essentially gotten themselves into the world of an over-the-counter hearing aid, and that's fine. I think that's going to help out many, many people. And for those people that it's not helpful for or not helpful enough, then the option for a sort of a prescription hearing aid still exists.
How big is the concern that there will be somebody that says, I'm going to go get my own hearing aid? They put it off for however many years, and they're disappointed with the result.
Oh, I think that's probably going to be a large amount of people.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, who knows? But a lot of these things have return policies. I mean, it's a product, so it's like you bought a laptop, you didn't like the laptop, you couldn't. I don't want to pick on your laptop skills.
No.
Someone gave you a laptop.
Yeah.
that was not perfectly programmed, and for most things you could return them. So I don't know what the exact policies on the return, the manufacturer's warranties or the manufacturer's return policies on these products are. I have yet to get my hands on them, but so if someone gets it and they're not happy with it, I think the beyond the medical side of things, which is that someone outfits themselves with a hearing aid inappropriately, putting aside those people that have a medical problem that should have been investigated sooner. For the people that could use a hearing aid, get an OTC hearing aid, and they don't like it, I think the shame would be if they do that and think, this stuff isn't for me, and then they just stop their trail of finding something. It'd be like getting a pair of glasses that were too strong for you, and you think the glasses aren't for you, and you walk around basically blind your whole life.
All right, I want to ask you both this. Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy is my guest. Dr. Giuseppe Staltari is also my guest, talking about hearing aids. This is a group of consumers that are going to start looking at something that they've never had to look at before. With you, with physiology stuff especially, when new technology becomes more available to the masses, how concerned are either of you with the misuse of it because of, like he just said, some people aren't going to program it right? When physio stuff comes out and it's brand new, how often do you see people try and use it themselves and make something worse?
Yeah, so I guess the similar product would be like someone orders, they see something online and they order their own stim unit or TENS unit. And I'll always have them bring the unit to me to make sure it's usable and effective. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they aren't. And so I'll make recommendations, for what's going to be appropriate for them. Mm-hmm. But I kind of see this similar to information that's available to you on the internet. So I have patients that all the time Google what their diagnosis is. I'm sure you see that as well. Mm-hmm. Google the exercises they should do, and they'll eventually come to me because whatever they tried through what they Googled didn't work. And that's because when you Google something, it's just very generalized. It's not very specific at all. Mm-hmm. And when you need physical therapy, you need an evaluation that's going to be specific to your needs. You need the exercise that are going to be specific for you. Just like when we see our vertigo patients, you can Google online, what do I do for vertigo? But what people don't realize is it could be in either ear, and it could be in any one of 6 canals within the vestibular system that the problem's in. So if they just choose one exercise, it may not be the right one, and then they're going to end up in my office anyway because they haven't done the appropriate exercise or done the right thing. So I'm kind of guessing you'll probably venture down that same avenue with these hearing aids, that people will try the over-the-counter because it's less expensive or they think they're saving a buck. But eventually they're going to end up back in your office anyway because either they couldn't figure out how to program it or it wasn't as effective as they hoped it to be.
Mm-hmm. And that can be a time-sensitive thing in both your cases. What you talked about, it's like, okay, we can fix this, but we need to fix this now. It's not going to get better, and it can get worse, and it's going to make it harder to fix it as it gets worse.
For hearing, not always time sensitive, but it can be. And of course, part of our job in the medical field is to make sure that we're kind of buffering against maybe the worst thing that could happen or things that otherwise can be remedied or can be fixed without harm to the patient. And so insofar as these things might delay that, there's a population that is going to be not harmed. So I do, I'll do some sort of like plumbing in my house if the pipe leaks. Okay. And so if something's available to me.
So you're a doctor and an IT guy and a plumber.
Yes, the jack of all trades and master of hopefully a few. If I put in a P-trap or something like that and I don't do it right, the harm is that, maybe the benefit is that I didn't have to hire a plumber. The harm could be that there's sewage in my house. So, for these,
it's a big downside,
right?
Doctor.
Yeah. So for these things, or for a TENS unit over the counter or something like that, the same thing happens. For many people, they're going to be helped. They didn't have to call Dale. They didn't have to call me, and that's perfectly fine for those people, so long as we're buffering against those people that are putting sewage in their house that are kind of getting ruined.
Metaphorically.
Yeah.
Is that a bigger problem now than it was 10 years ago? Dale, you and I have talked about that. Not necessarily misinformation, but the self-diagnosis, and it's like showing up to a car mechanic and telling the mechanic what's wrong with it and you have no idea. Is that a growing problem since Wikipedia, since WebMD?
I think I don't know what your read on this is. My suspicion is that part of what we do is having knowledge, but then the other part of it is understanding the frequency of the whole menu of things that could exist, and the likelihood or the frequency that those things are actually happening to a specific person. So, and I think the error comes from suspecting that all of it is only because of hidden knowledge. So the only reason you might come to me is because I have hidden knowledge that I didn't want to tell you, and so when you come to me, I get to give you a little bit of that hidden knowledge. Or I have a little bit of that special stuff that I didn't want you otherwise to find out. And I think that suspicion, it makes sense, but I think that's what powers that sort of the question, which is to say, people come in and they say, well, I read about it. This is the thing. I have the knowledge. The knowledge is on Google. I'm just like another node on the pathway to getting the knowledge that exists on Google. For some cases, that's actually the case. I know something because I've trained in it, and you might not be able to find that on Google, and so I'll tell you the thing. But I think more likely, or more importantly, it would be that there is all of the possibilities, and you come to someone like Dale, or you come to someone like me, or some of my colleagues, who would say, no, I've listened to what you said. I know that here's the menu, but in reality, if we give this 2 days, you won't even be asking this question. I have the experience of seeing plenty of people that have similar conditions to you. I know that there's A through Z problems, and that's all the knowledge, but in reality, in practice, it is this sort of thing, and all you have to do is this, and you'll be fine. Or you won't be fine, but however it goes.
How many more moving parts are there when you're dealing with something like allergies? Because if you convince me, give me 2 days, and well, okay, I've got allergy, and you're going to try and help me with my allergies, it's longer than a 2-day process to sort that out sometimes.
Certainly, it's generally longer than a 2-day process, and the therapy for it is
Right.
either lifelong or 3 to 5 years or something like that in the case of allergy shots or drops. But yeah, I think it takes a little bit. It's almost like coaching. Everybody knows how to throw a ball. Everybody knows how to play a game. But the role and the importance of having a coach is not just to give you the secret knowledge, but it's to actually guide you on the pathway to getting where you need to go, or steering you clear of danger. So in allergies, I have plenty of patients that think that they have any number of things wrong with them, and all they need is sort of a sober, intelligent look at what's going on to then direct, no, just try this first and you'll be okay. Or stop doing this thing because that's actually, it might make you feel good in the short term, but it's harming you in the long term, or it's providing you no future benefit. So allergy similarly has, any number of moving parts,
Right.
and there are plenty of therapeutic options for those people. But selecting the right or the appropriate set of therapeutic options is something that takes, I think, a little bit of time and obviously some experience.
Are we allergic to more things than we ever were in the history of man? As a kid, you might hear somebody be allergic to 1 or 2 things. Dale, did you have anybody in school that was allergic to everything? I mean, short of John Travolta, Boy in the Bubble.
Yeah, that's classic.
Are we more allergic to everything? Why is that? That at least the perception is that. Is my perception wrong?
I can't tell you that your perception's wrong or correct. It's certainly similar to what we were talking about whenever ago. The perception that traditionally simple, rare illnesses are becoming maybe a little bit more frequent, or have had a brief period of being more frequent. Allergies similarly might be getting more, the incidence may be going up. Unfortunately, I don't have any data to prove to you that that's the case. Anecdotally, same thing. It seems to be the case, or at least the severity of those allergies for my own allergy patients and for our practice's allergy patients seem to be ratcheting up a little bit. Whether or not that's environmental things like climate change or whatever, I can't really point a finger at specific data suggesting it that is concrete. It might be increased industrial exposure. It might be any number of things.
What should I have asked you, doctor, that I didn't ask you?
Oh man,
Dale, I'm going to throw this at you in a second.
yeah, I don't know. I think we've covered quite a few nice hot button topics. Favorite surgeries is usually one, and but that's not a should. Yeah, I don't know. That's a fun question, but and one that I don't have a perfect, solid answer to. Take out a salivary gland is a great one to do. But
no, okay, why? We should open with a salivary gland. What did I tell you in the production meeting?
Yeah. Oh man, taking out a salivary gland is it's usually of benign disease. It's,
right.
It has enough interesting and intricate anatomy that it is a fun challenge, but it's also not a life or death scenario usually. So it's not something that for
it's
weeks
like,
afterwards I'm sweating about.
It's like working on a car, and it'd be one of the few things that I would know how to do.
Yeah.
You feel good about it?
Yeah, exactly.
So changing the plugs in my truck is your salivary gland surgery.
Exactly, right? You're changing the plugs on the truck. It's more complex than washing or waxing the
Sure,
car, but you're not taking the whole engine block out.
I'm not
Yeah,
dropping
right.
the tranny or nothing.
Right, exactly, yeah. So it's one of those.
Dale, what should I ask you that I didn't ask you? I don't know if you can top salivary gland surgery,
I feel
to be
like we
honest.
could have a whole nother show talking to Dr. Staltari about the surgeries he does, to be honest.
As soon as we go to
there's
news here in a couple minutes, I'm going to go through my wallet, and I know he's doing all right. I mean, he's a doctor, he's an IT guy. I'm going to see if I got enough. He can stay and do the last 2 hours of today's show.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So if you have any physical therapy needs, just give us a call at MRS Physical Therapy. We have 2 offices, one's in Cranberry and one's in Bridgewater. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater is right in the heart of Bridgewater and Stone Point Landing, and that number is 724-728-7550. And Cranberry Physical Therapy is on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge. That number is 724-591-8121. And we also have a website, mrsphysicaltherapy.com, or you could always email me at d.reckless@mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
And for the people that are listening but aren't able to watch this, you repost the video of this show.
The video's on our
It's
Facebook
it's on
sites.
our Facebook, the station, Beaver County Radio, but you post it on your Facebook page also,
Absolutely.
right? Doctor, tell them one more time how they can get in touch with you, the
think-
website and the office location.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing is our website at entallergy.org. That's a .org and not .com, unless you want to go to a physician in New Jersey or Philadelphia.
There's your first red flag.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit too long of a drive for most of our patients, I think. And then we have locations in the Seven Fields Cranberry area. We have a location in Sewickley. We have a location in Beaver, and we have a location in the McKees Rocks, Kennedy area. But again, I think the easiest thing is our website at entallergy.org.
Dale Reckless, always great to see you. Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy. Dr. Giuseppe Staltari, our guest today. It's Teleforum. I'm going to try and talk the doctor into staying for 2 more hours. News is next on Beaver County Radio.
Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling, and yes, either up or down the stairs, or maybe even out of bed, St. Barnabas has a special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall, in love that is, with their new, better life, a longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
John Fetterman poses as working class, but the New York Times reported that Fetterman lived off his parents until he was 49. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported Fetterman grew up, quote, sheltered from any hardship. His blue-collar routine is fake. He's a phony. Fetterman's act insults real families with real struggles. Far-left Fetterman would make life even harder for them. With inflation running wild, Fetterman's pushing tax hikes on those of us who actually work. He backed higher federal taxes and higher state taxes, even pushing to raise Pennsylvania's income tax rate 46%. And Fetterman said releasing murderers early was the most critical thing he'll ever do in office. That's nuts. Reject John Fetterman. He's a far-left fraud. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Here at Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA, we just love giving away prizes and making winners out of our listeners on a regular occurrence. If you'd like a complete list of the WBVP and WNBA prize contest rules, just visit beavercountyradio.com.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.